Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to yet another video. My name is Nicole, and I am here to provide messages of guidance, messages of support, and to give you a somewhat practical approach to your spiritual journey. Essentially, what is happening, and I will repeat these same messages every week, so please bear with me. Essentially, what is happening is that we are seeing a coming together of the physical and the spiritual world. We have forgotten for such a long time that we are soul beings, have a human experience, and that we are not this body. This body is simply the vessel that allows our soul, which is what gives this body life. This body is just the vessel for our soul to experience this 3D physical reality. And essentially, Earth is like a school for our souls, because knowledge, or should I say information, is only information until it becomes embodied, at which point it becomes wisdom and knowledge. So we came here, our souls literally chose to incarnate here at this time as the Earth is going through this extremely spiritual time of evolution. And we are essentially moving back into the golden age. And the golden age was the energies of the time that reigned when, not Aquarius, when Atlantis was in power. And Atlantis was not only a place, but a time period on the earth where consciousness was much more evolved and much more expanded. And as a result of that, people were a lot more advanced. Technology was a lot more advanced. Society was a lot more advanced. And when I talk about technology being advanced, I don't mean about these AI robots and turning into, this half human, half robot, but where they were using different forms of technology, which was a lot more simpler than we actually give them credit for, but that allowed them to do things that go far beyond the human mind. So essentially, we have been living through the dark ages where the cycle is coming to a close. Remember, we are moving out of the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius. Pisces is about water. Pisces is about feeling, about emotion, about spirituality also, but false spirituality. It is also dominated by Neptune, which is the planet of illusion. And we have all been living in a world of illusion where we haven't really been seeing clearly what is actually happening in the world around us. And now when we move into Aquarius, Aquarius is air. Air is all about intellect. It is about using our higher mind. And for me, the way I look at this is about tapping, is going away from the conscious mind and now tapping into the subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind is actively connected to our soul. So essentially, we can look at ourselves as a computer where the subconscious is like the internet in a sense, where we have access to so much information. But if we don't know how to access it, if we don't know how to use it, then again, I always like to use the saying, we don't know what we don't know. So if you don't know what you don't know, how can you know what to go and look for? So there is always the information. There is what we know that we know. There is what we know that we don't know. And there is what we know. There is what we don't know that we don't know. And essentially, the age of Aquarius is opening us up to all that we don't know. It is opening us up to, just recently got a new kitten, and it's been quite the drama with the dogs. So what was I saying? So we are being opened up to, and it isn't about knowing what we don't know, but it is about remembering who we are. Because remember, you are a soul being having a human experience. And in your soul form, you have already experienced all that is. And the way I look at the soul form is almost like a gaseous form, because it is everywhere and nowhere at the same time. And so as when you are not in this physical body, your consciousness can move and experience and learn things and know things and communicate with other beings from higher realms and higher dimensions. So this is what we are being opened up to. And of course, this is not easy for everybody, especially for those people who have never been believers in more than what is in this tangible reality. And that's okay, because this is what we are taught. This is what we are programmed. This is how society has evolved us to think. and to only look at the physical as opposed to seeing all these other aspects that are in existence. But just because we haven't been trained to see them doesn't mean that they don't exist. So again, I have pulled cards here to gain a clearer message. And what's interesting, because as much as these videos are timeless, at the moment of filming this video, we recently had the 12/12 portal. So we had the 12th of December. And whenever there are the 7th of the 7th, the 8th of the 8th, the 1st of the 1st, etc., etc., it is a portal. It is an energetic portal where new information can come through. But it was very interesting because the 12/12 actually fell on the last new moon of 2023, which was in the sign of Sagittarius. Sagittarius dominates the ninth house. The ninth house is the house of higher learning. It is the house, of I wouldn't say of spirituality, but of philosophy, of religion, but without the dogmatic sort of limitations. It is about opening up to experiencing that there is something so much bigger. And the thing is that when we open up our minds, which is very much Aquarius energy, and we start to look at things from a new perspective, when we start to open ourselves up and allow ourselves to see things that we might not have wanted to see before, because unfortunately we have been taught that seeing is believing. But now we are being asked to see through our first eye, our spiritual eye. It is about seeing beyond, seeing what is beyond this physical reality. And so this is what 2023 has really been about, where people have been questioning. 2023 has been the year of 7, which is the year of truth, the year of spirituality, where more people have been starting to open up and question these sort of larger questions, trying to get a better understanding of, who they really are and why they are here and what their souls came here to experience. So the first card we have is Seraphs Gateway. So, sorry, just coming back to this new moon and being in Sagittarius. Remember, the new moon represents new beginnings, new cycles. And Sagittarius is also very much about adventure and travel and opening up to other cultures and things that we do not know. So this new moon was really bringing in the energies that are supporting us to bring new beginnings, new changes, new ways of doing in terms of how we see the world, in terms of what we are willing to open ourselves up to. And the thing is that even when we go on this journey of self-discovery and self-transformation, and this journey of really trying to discover who you are and know what your life purpose is, because now that we are here at this time when there are all these shifts that are taking place, it is because we came here to experience something, but we each have inherent unique gifts. And these gifts also come in the form of frequency, because remember, everything is energy. We are all made up of energy. We all have a different frequency. And so your frequency allows you to do something that nobody else in the world can. And so even if you're doing, I don't know, say engineering, the way you would approach a problem is different because of your specific set of experiences in the world, which makes you unique to seeing the world specifically through your own lens and through your own experiences. And you had those specific experiences. You had those specific experiences because you have something interesting to share that will help the collective move through this period of transformation. So the first card we have is Seraphs Gateway, voice activation, angelic attunement, divine support. Wow, look at all these colors. Yes, divine support comes through these different planetary shifts, because remember, the planets, in ancient times, the planets were seen as the gods. So we were ruled by the gods in that each of the planets emits a certain frequency and has a specific archetype in terms of, so for example, as I was talking about Neptune, which is all about illusion and dreaminess and really connecting to the spiritual realm. So when Neptune is present, and of course, everybody has a different chart and everybody has different planets and so many different things. So many different things are taken into account here when we look at the astrology and the movement of the planets. And remember, the pyramids were built in perfect alignment with Sirius. And so when we look to these ancient people and these ancient cultures, they were very connected to the celestial bodies and to the movement of the planets. I mean, even the Dogon tribes of Mali knew about the position of Sirius A and Sirius B way before the telescope even existed, and they knew exactly its positioning in the sky, even though Sirius isn't, or I'll get there in a bit, but Sirius isn't normally visible to the naked eye. And so a lot of information here is based on the movement of the planets, because as the planets move in our sky, they affect us, whether we want to believe it or not, and that's okay. And I'll tell you right now that I was not somebody who believed in astrology until I went and learned how to read my own birth chart. And it was only in learning to read my own birth chart that I comprehended just how deep astrology is and just how much information it brings us. And astronomy is, looking at the positioning of the planets in the sky, but astrology is being able to read the energies of the movements of the planets in the sky and how they impact us individually. And so these movements of the planets, they affect us individually as well as collectively, because remember, all these planets are visible in our chart and affecting us in one way or another. So we will have specific gifts more than others because of the way the planets were positioned in the sky at the time of our birth. So yes, the way these planets are moving, there is an activation that is taking place because these frequencies are affecting us in ways that we haven't known, at least those of us who are alive at these times today, because when we move out of Pisces into Aquarius, it's a very different frequency, it's a very different energy, it's a very different archetype. So we are moving out of pain and trauma and not really being able to see with clarity into our higher mind, which is our subconscious, which is also what allows us to tap into our spiritual self. So we are being given divine support, we are being attuned by the angelic realm, right? Remember, we are all electromagnetic beings, and so we have to retune our frequency so that we can match the new vibrational frequency of the earth, because everything is emitting a sound, everything is vibrating, all atoms are vibrating at different speeds. And depending on the speed at which they are vibrating, you will have something that is more dense than something else. But these are also emitting a certain frequency. So even you as a human being are emitting your own unique frequency. And the way we can start to shift our frequency, as I've said it time and time again, is by dealing with our emotions. The way we drop in frequency is when we are feeling a low vibrational emotion, such as sadness or fear. If we are constantly in fear, we cannot even think logically or rationally, for that matter. So we are being brought in divine support so that we can shift the frequency of our vibration and start seeing things for what they really are and get rid of that veil of illusion. And so as the earth is shifting in her frequency and her vibration, we too are shifting alongside with her. But now we can either choose to shift, because remember, free will is something that exists, and so we are being given the choice as to whether we want to shift or whether we want to stay in this current vibration. And if we stay in this current vibration, then we will experience difficulties moving forward, because it is basically change or die. And I know that I'm being blunt here, but that is essentially what is happening, and we are still being given the chance to do this, because this is not happening overnight, but this has been happening for some time. And now we are coming to the points where we are being able to see these spiritual shifts. But not only that, it says here voice activation. So yes, your voice chakra is being activated. Your voice box is being activated. Your fear of expressing who you really are is being activated. Sorry, cat is attacking me. So do not be afraid to connect with the angelic realm, because there is support for you. And if you look up to the skies, there is so much things. There are so many things happening in the skies, and if you can see it or not, the thing is, again, the more open you are, the more you will be able to see. So it is about seeing beyond what the physical eye see, and trust what your first eye, your spiritual eye, your intuition is telling you. So interesting enough here. The next card we have is Sirius Star Blessings. Yes. So as I was talking about earlier, the pyramids, the Great Pyramids of Giza were built in direct alignment with Sirius. And they say that Sirius is actually the second celestial sun in our solar system, but it is actually way more powerful than the sun that we see every day. But interestingly enough, if you go and research the internet, there is more and more videos coming up of a second sun which is being seen. And even me, for myself, I have seen the second sun, because even though I'm here in Kenya, when I see the sun setting, as obviously the sun sets to the west, I look to the east. And even though the sun has already set, because here in Kenya, well, the sun sets basically at around the same time all year round, there seems to be light coming from the east, which makes no sense. So there are a lot of shifts that are taking place, and Sirius, this is also connected to the planet Nibiru. Now you can do more research into this, because I'm not going to go into detail into this here, but this is also about the dwarf planet, which is in our celestial skies and is moving closer to Earth. And so even during the times of Atlantis, when consciousness was higher and they were living through the golden age, what was happening is how we know we move to the golden age is that when Sirius comes closer to our sun, consciousness naturally rises, because the frequencies that are coming from Sirius are extremely, extremely potent. And these are the things that we are experiencing at this moment. So if you have been experiencing lethargy, getting sick, extreme tiredness, maybe waking up super early, having difficulty sleeping, maybe getting really hot, getting really cold, all these weird things that your body is experiencing, is because you are being exposed to frequencies that you haven't been exposed to before. So here it says, yes, proceed, be seen, push through. Yes, now is about showing who you are on the soul level. Remember, it is not about who you are in this physical vessel, but who you are in your soul. Remember, it is about embodying your higher self in human form. The next card we have is Arcturian light codes, evolutionary downloads, recalling power, future thinking. Yes, and so some of you might resonate with the concept of star seeds. And what are star seeds? Star seeds are basically saying that your soul doesn't come from Earth or doesn't come from this solar system, but comes from another planet outside of our solar system, but that your soul chose to incarnate here at this time to help Earth go through this evolution. And so within your DNA, within your psyche, within your subconscious mind, you have access to higher information. And so you came here to share this information with others, right? I'm sure some of you have heard of the 100 monkey effect, where essentially they did a test that showed that where by the time, I can't remember what it was exactly, you can do the research, but by the time the 100 monkeys had learned a new trick, all the monkeys across the globe naturally knew how to do that thing. And so we as human beings are the same. It was the same thing with I think it was like the 4-minute mile, or I can't remember what it was, but some guy who ran, he broke some world record back in the day, and he was the first to do it. But after he did it, suddenly everybody started breaking that record. And so it just shows that when humanity have been shown that something is possible, then it comes back to seeing is believing, right? So some of us had to come here to be the ones to show others where we are going, show others what is possible, because we don't know what we don't know until we see something that we didn't know. And then we're like, oh, okay, I didn't know that thing. So we are being opened up. We are literally downloading evolutionary information, which is super important for us to continue through this period of evolution. And future thinking is very much connected to Aquarius energy. So the next card we have is Merkaba activation, transcendence, ascension. You are rising up. Yes, the Merkaba essentially talks about our light body, right? So as human beings, we are made up of multiple bodies. So in yoga, they talk about the various koshas or the various bodies, and that as human beings, we're kind of like an onion, right? So we have our physical body, we have our mental body, we have our emotional body, we have our spiritual body, we have our auric body, we have our astral body, we have our etheric body, and then we have the bliss body. So right now, most of us have only been focusing on our physical body, and as much as we're aware that we have a mental body, our mind, we're not consciously using our mind. I mean, think about how often you think about thoughts that you are not in control of. Remember, you control your mind doesn't control you. So this is why meditation is extremely important, because it is about learning how to become aware of your thoughts and being in control of your emotions, being in control of your body, being in control of all of these different aspects of your being. And so the Merkaba or Merkaba is the light body. And so this is, again, your spiritual body. Now, when you remember your spiritual body, because remember, when you go to bed at night and you're sleeping, your spirit is traveling. So your body is asleep because it needs to rest, but your spirit is moving through the different realms. And that is essentially what the dream state, and when you're dreaming, is that you're experiencing a whole other dimension, which your physical body isn't in, but your soul consciousness is there. And so as you start activating this part of you, as you start activating your consciousness, you begin to rise up. You transcend your limitations. You become aware of how you are imposing your own self-limitations, right? This is what Bob Marley said: free yourself from mental slavery. Okay, the cat has decided that he just wants to hang out with us, so I guess he's bringing good vibes. And so you are rising up, you are becoming aware of how you are limiting yourself, right? How you are putting yourself in your own mind prison by not allowing yourself to open up. And right, the reason that we close ourselves off so much is because of fear. As human beings, we are fearful of the unknown, and that's normal. And so what we do is that when we fear the unknown, we want to control it. But this goes beyond us. It is when we realize that we cannot control anything outside of us. We can only control our thoughts. We can only control our emotions. We can control the way we respond as opposed to react. And this is what has been going on at this time, where we are being given the opportunity to become aware of all of these different facets of ourselves, so that they are no longer controlling us, but we are the ones controlling them to serve our own interests. So the next card we have, interestingly enough, is Sagittarius, expand. And the numerology here is 9. Remember, 9 is a number of completion, but the archetype is also the humanitarian. So you are moving upwards in terms of, right, with this new moon energy in Sagittarius, you are opening up to the parts of yourself that you didn't know were there. You are expanding to your higher mind. You are becoming a humanitarian, because essentially when we start focusing and improving and healing ourselves, we naturally positively impact the world around us, because we don't realize, a lot of the things, the way we impact people a lot of the time is not tangible. And so if you're shitty to another human being, you don't realize that you're bringing that other person's level of consciousness down or level of vibration down. But when you are good and kind to another human being, you inspire others to do the same. And so this is how we are moving into the newer, higher dimensions and higher frequencies. It is about expanding who we are and changing. But when we expand and become aware of the different aspects of who we are, then we can start to change them. We're no longer reacting in autopilot, but we are the ones who are actively deciding how we want to engage with the situation or experience that is in front of us. So the next card is Descendant, invitation. And again, we have another 9. And look at all these colors, right? Oh, it's interesting here because with the Sagittarius, it's the centaur, right? But if you can see here, he's like shooting his arrow up towards the sky. It's like he's reaching up towards the celestial bodies to grab that information so that he can pull it down with his arrow back towards himself. So it is about opening up to the information that is up there in the celestial bodies, and that is waiting to come down to us. But if we are not open, how can we receive? So I want to read this card here for you. So I have the book here. So it says, so invitation. While the ascendant describes how you enter the world, the descendant is the place where you invite equal others to come into your world. It describes how you see these peers, what you project upon them, and what you were trained to respect in them. The descendant is where the sun would be at sunset. Action. Look at how you invite others to dance with you, to relate. Be welcoming while also keeping healthy boundaries in place. Once you feel comfortable about your ground rules for the people you bring into your life, it is easier to open your heart. Yes, this is, if we don't know what our boundaries are, so many of us are depleted of energy because we don't know what our boundaries are. And we don't know what our boundaries are because we just don't ask ourselves, what is it that I'm not willing, where is my endpoint? It's like you can still give your energy to those around you and be there for the people that you love, but you don't have to give everything, right? We live in a world where we're taught where we have to live for the other, but that's not true. There is nobody who's going to care about yourself as much as you care about yourself. So by constantly looking outwards and giving everything to the people around you, and yes, that's good if that fills your soul, but it shouldn't be depleting your energy. So if you notice that you keep people at a distance or avoid meeting new people, investigate this habit. Though it might have been important to protect you at one time in your life, consider how it is working for you now and what would help you feel safe enough to open this door. Also notice in what areas of your life you ask other people to do your work for you. Yes, how much do we deflect and say, oh, we expect so much from other people, yet we're not willing to do the work. It's unfortunate how lazy people are. And I know that I'm being blunt here, but so many people say that they want to change, and so many people say that they want success, and so many people say that they want fortune and fame and all of these things, but they're not willing to do what it takes to get there. And so if you try and push all your stuff onto somebody else's plate, then that is not helping you or your relationship. So the descendant can point to what you might try to import from other people. While this practice can refer to an important skill in a work situation, it has its dangers in a personal relationship. If you feel disempowered, you might be drawn to powerful people. If you're an extrovert who inwardly craves emotional and spiritual intimacy, you might draw in someone who helps you cozy up at home. It's wonderful when others can help you develop latent characteristics within yourself. But if you ask them to do this work for you and they leave, there goes your resource. If you see them as only an extension of yourself, you can really see them. When you develop your own resources, you can see you can see these others as whole beings with their own needs and gifts. The challenge. You give your power away when instead of working together, you ask others to do what is missing in yourself. How many of us do this, right? We latch onto other people's energies. Maybe somebody out there is cool and popular, so you hang out with this cool and popular person thinking that it's going to make you cool and popular, but yet you don't really like that person. So this is again where we get into codependent relationships where we expect others to bring us these characteristics that we want. And instead of developing them for ourselves, we latch onto other people, hoping that, we can benefit off them because they have those characteristics for themselves. And the gift is tend to the inlet to your heart. Invite in relationships that are clear, healing, nurturing, self-responsible, and encouraging of mutual evolution. Yes, make sure that you are surrounding yourself with people who are helping you on this journey as opposed to people who are tearing you down. Don't surround yourself with people who make you feel shitty about yourself. If you are engaging in relationships with people who don't make you feel good about who you are, then these are not the relationships for you. So the next card we have is Imam Kohli. Sorry, I don't know how you spell that. You write that, or you say that rather. And it says root. The numerology here is 11, which is all about spirituality. So the root is, we talk about the root chakra, but also when we look here, the root of a tree, right? So the further down the roots of a tree go, the higher that tree can grow. So no, the lower the roots can ground, the higher the tree can grow. So the same with you. The more you are grounded in your energies, the more you know who you are, the more you can grow, right? And with the 11, it's also what comes to mind here is that the root is also your foundation, right? We talk about the root chakra, which is our feelings of safety and support. So now you are basically building a new foundation so that you can bring in more spirituality into your life. And spirituality doesn't mean this like woo woo, you know. Spirituality just means being connected to your consciousness, being connected to who you really are, and going beyond, you know, you are not your body, you are not your name, you are not your job. There is something deeper inside of you that animates you. Who is that being that is animating you? So again, I want to read this card for you. So it says, imagine your spine extends down into the earth like a taproot. The strong central root under a tree, through the earth to a point on the sun's path below. Latin for bottom of the sky, the imam coli points to the memories and experiences that feed your first roots. Your early home life, your family's traditions, and your biological and emotional heritage. Yes, what is the root of who you are, right? So this really relates to the root chakra. The root chakra is connected, is really formed in your times of pre-birth, so when your mother was pregnant, and those first years of childhood. That is when the first wounding occurs. That is when we start learning all about fear. Fear is one of the first emotions that we learn about, right? So you know, you are being asked to re-identify what is the foundation of who you are. Because if you have a foundation that is built on trauma, where you weren't nurtured and you weren't loved and you weren't given support and you weren't given the basic needs that you needed in order to thrive, then there is a deep need for you to go inwards and to really identify what is holding you back. There is a deep need to be working on clearing out that childhood trauma. And so I'm actually in the process of developing a course which is all about healing your trauma. So that course will be launched in the new year, so I will be sharing when that comes out. But this is a very powerful course which is really going to help you to learn how to start releasing the trauma. Because you know what most people don't realize is that trauma comes and sits within our body. The number one place where trauma is sitting is in our lymphatic system, within our fascia, and within our nervous system. So once you start to reprogram these parts of your body, you will begin to release the stagnant, dense energies that were created by these past traumas that you didn't have the ability to resolve or release, energetically at least. And so all these energies are still sitting inside your body, and this is how unhealed trauma can impact us all the way into the future. But also with the fact that, you know, the trauma that our ancestors experienced, if they didn't get a chance to heal it, then this was naturally passed down to us. And all of this ancestral trauma that is passed down sits within the root, because it is the foundation of who we are. But with the numerology 11 here, it is about expanding and realizing, rechanging your foundation so that it also incorporates a spiritual aspect. So the next card we have here is 4. An interesting 4 is also the number which is all about foundation. But as you shift this foundation, you start to tap into your house of resources. Right? You start to realize that you have access and resources. Yes, here we're being shown money, but resources is also the gifts and the talents that you have, right? When you can tap into your resources, like the reason you're able to get certain jobs is because you have the skills and the abilities to do that. So think about the resources that are already inherent inside of you. Think about the abilities that you have and how you can call on these abilities to help you get through these challenges. When we are experiencing challenges especially now when there are so many challenges in the world all around us, and it can be very uncomfortable as we are moving through these challenges. So we tend to forget that we have the ability to, you know, to go inwards and find what it is that we need to help us move through these difficult times. So don't be afraid to go inwards, and remember that you have so many resources at your disposal. Remember, here with angelic activation, you have access to resources that you don't even know are there because you're not looking for them. You can't see what you're not looking for. So start, you know, looking for all the gifts and abilities that you naturally have. You know, start writing them down, start looking for all the positive traits and the positive aspects that you have, because so often when we have experienced trauma and we haven't fully healed it, then what happens is that we are inclined to look at ourselves negatively, and so our brain is attuned to always look for the negative. But now when you start tuning your mind as to how to look for the positive aspects of who you are, you start to change who you are and the way you see yourself. So the next card we have is go for your dreams. Yes, now is the time. I'm not going to show you the cards because it's just writing, and obviously the camera shows it upside down, but yes, don't be afraid to go after your dreams. These energies are supporting it. Now is the time to go for your dreams, because now is a time when we need to see new in this world. We have been seeing the same old boring shit for centuries, let's be honest. I mean, if we look to the last 200 years, now suddenly we're seeing an explosion in new technology, but a lot of technology has been suppressed. And now is a time where, as we tap into the Aquarian energies, we are all being asked to tap into our dreams, because when we go into our dreams and we do something, because all of us are different, so we're all going to have different dreams. So even if you want fame and fortune, or if you just want to be free and happy, the way you're going to accomplish that is going to be different than how, let's say, I would accomplish it. You know, as much as there is only one path when it comes to this realm of spirituality, but we're all going to take different paths to get there, and that's okay, because that is, remember, the path is the journey is the path. So don't be afraid to go after your dreams, and you know, just do what makes you happy. That's what you came here to experience. Your soul wants you to experience joy and love and happiness, so don't be afraid to go there. The next card we have is retreat. Yes, when you take time to retreat, when you take time to be in your own energies, you experience things. Kitty, stop it. You experience things differently because you don't have other people affecting you. You don't have other people swaying you. You know, I've been in retreat for basically 3 years. I've been, you know, for me, who used to be such a social butterfly and used to go out to every event and, you know, would go out Monday to Sunday and was always had like serious fear of missing out. The past 4 years, I've basically been in retreat. I've been working on building my business. I've been working on building myself. And the thing is that when you go into retreat, I'm not saying like don't hang out with people and become a recluse. I'm just saying when you spend more time in your own energies and you don't have other people affecting your energies and distorting your frequencies, you cannot see yourself clearly. So don't be afraid to spend time alone. And if you have been spending a lot of time alone, this is so that you can really, really, truly and fully know who you are. My favorite card, laugh at your demons. It's so funny. My sister, her favorite meme is, it says something along the lines of, one day you'll find someone who is truly obsessed with you. It will most likely be a demon, but that's okay. And it's, and then there's this guy who's from like, it looks like an image that would be from like the 17th century, and he looks like a priest in some priestly attire. And then there's some like demon looking thing which really looks like a standing teddy bear with like deer antlers, and he's like hugging the priest. And I don't know why, like every single time we see this meme, we just die of laughter. And I think the reason is because, you know, we learned to love our demons. And the thing is that, you know, that this is where shadow work comes in, and shadow work is about looking into the aspects of you who you didn't know were there, or the aspects of you that have been created as a, I'm sorry, go away, as a result of, you know, these traumas and these pains that we've experienced, and the trauma that you haven't had an opportunity to heal because you haven't known how to heal, you haven't had the space to do it, or you haven't felt safe enough to do this. And so as a result of that, we create coping mechanisms, and these coping mechanisms could be as simple as, maybe you were shouted at and bullied as a child. So as a result, when you feel cornered or like someone is, taking advantage of you, maybe you will bully them back. And you were doing this unconsciously, and you did this maybe as a form of, as a protective mechanism. But as a result of that, these are the demons inside of you that, because they say hurt people hurt people. So when you were hurt because you didn't heal that hurt, you are more inclined. Sorry, the cat is now. Stop it! So, sorry. So you are more inclined to go and hurt someone too. So this is why there is a deep need to heal your wounds so that you are not likely to pass them on. But when you send your demons love, and when you just laugh at them and don't take them that seriously, then things are not that serious. We have to laugh at things sometimes. Laughter is actually the best way of changing your frequency. And so unfortunately, the most unfortunate thing is that when people tell me really horrific news, I tend to laugh, and I'm not doing it purposely because I'm trying to be malicious, but this is just the way my spirit needs to shift the negative energy, lift the energy up so that I can now transmute, because what I'm doing all the time, so even for you who's on this video, I am helping you to transmute your energy, and that is what my spirit is doing all of the time. I'm taking negative energies and I'm transmuting them through my body and bringing out a higher frequency. And the only reason that I was able to do this, or learn that I was capable of doing this, was in retreat, was in taking time for self-reflection, but learning also about my demons and learning how to laugh at them and learning how to actually use my demons. I was someone who was so prone to anger. I would get angry for the measlest little things, and I would then shout at people because that's how I was treated when I was a child, and then feel really guilty about it, and then feel really shit about it, and then have to go and, with my tail between my legs, going to have to say, apologize to that person. I mean, let me not lie, it took me a while before I was able to actually take responsibility and go and apologize to people. But that is something that I had to work on. And as a result of that, realizing that sometimes my anger could serve me. So what I did is, rather than getting angry, I used my anger as fuel to drive me forward to do something about it, which is why now I'm in this, profession, I guess, of helping people to heal their traumas. So don't be afraid to laugh at your demons, and don't be afraid to ask them to help you, because when you make friends with them, then they're going to be your friend. They're going to want to help you, as opposed to, tearing you down. So the next card we have is keep your commitments. Yes, how many of us have so much difficulty committing to what we start off, especially now with New Year's coming around the corner. How many of us set New Year's intentions and don't follow through on them? First of all, I'll just give you a quick tip here. The reason why we can't follow through on them is because January energetically is in the sign of Capricorn, and this is not a time for be setting intentions, right? The new year actually starts in the springtime around March, April. But January is a good time to start thinking about what are the commitments you want to start keeping for 2028. And then once we get to March, April time, when we're in Aries season, that is the time to start taking action on them. So now is a great time for contemplation. What is it that you want to bring into your life for next year? Also, remember, we're preparing for 2024. 2024 is an 8-year. 8 is all about infinity, right? Infinity, infinite possibilities. It's also the number of power, personal power. It's also the number of will. So what is it that you want to see infinite possibilities into your life grasping? But the thing is, like, if you can have infinite possibilities, but if you don't take action on them, then nothing's going to change. So if you're not willing to take action on the commitments that you're setting for yourself, then I'm sorry to break it to you, friends, but you're not going to get anywhere. And so the thing is, yes, it's uncomfortable. I didn't like to be a hermit. Sometimes when people would call me and be like, hey, let's go out, let's go drinking, let's go party, I was like, actually, as much as I wanted to at the beginning, when I was trying to quit smoking and quit drinking and quit, my philandering ways, let me not lie, it took time. I had to disconnect from that life completely, because otherwise, when we haven't broken that habit, we're so easily pulled back into it. So sometimes you have to fully step away from the thing that you're trying to shift in order to be able to shift it. I mean, now I can go out partying and I don't want to drink, I don't want to smoke, I don't, So it is about keeping your commitments. Even when it gets uncomfortable, remember why you're doing this. Remember the outcome. Remember your true north. Remember where you're trying to go, right? There's an awesome guy who was like big in the 1950s. His name is Neville Goddard. He talks a lot about manifestation and about living in your outcome, right? Wherever it is that you want to be, whatever it is that that you are desiring, you have to embody that now, right? So if you want to be, I don't know, a multimillionaire, you have to start acting like a multimillionaire. The multimillionaire isn't going to say, no, I don't have money to spend on this thing that's going to elevate me, right? One thing that I learned is that when you invest in yourself, it is never money badly spent, because it was always going to help you to keep growing and expanding and reaching the next part of who you are. So then we have accept disappointments gracefully. Yes, when things don't go your way, that's okay, right? The Buddha talked about expectations being the cause of all suffering. When we have expectations and our expectations aren't met, then we are disappointed. Have no expectations and be open. Things will go differently. Remember, people who achieve, people who are successful, people who have accomplished whatever it is that they set out to accomplish, they probably failed 1,000,000 times before they actually figured it out. So when you realize that failure is not doing something wrong, failure is just learning how not to do something. So accept those disappointments. Now we move to the cards of the fairies. The fairy messages say music. Listen carefully, for there may be a message in the music you hear. Music can lift your soul, rekindle memories, and charm fairies to your door. Yes, when I started listening to a lot of, frequency music, binaural beats, you can incorporate this into your meditation. It is so powerful what this does. This is actively shifting your nervous system, but it is also impacting your brain in ways that it isn't normally impacted in. So pay attention to the music too. You don't realize that the music you're listening to is manipulating your subconscious mind. Pay attention. I don't listen to a lot of music with words, because those words, whether you're hearing those words or not, they're impacting your subconscious mind. They're impacting your unconscious beliefs. So pay attention to the music you're listening to. It's interesting. People who like trap music, think about that word, trap. Think about something that is a trap. It's giving you a false sense of safety so that it can trap you. It is trapping your soul. Pay attention to the lyrics of the music you are listening to. And I highly suggest that you start moving towards listening to frequency music. There is so much of it on YouTube. So you won't have difficulty finding it. The next card we have is magical blessings. Whatever you're going through, you're being assisted by magical fairy blessings. The fairies say you can bless others too. Yes, be open to the blessings, the things that are happening around you. The thing is, we cannot see our blessings. When we look so much with our physical eyes, it is about, when we take time to retreat, when we take time to go inwards, when we take time to live a more simple life, when we are more connected to nature, our being changes in ways that you cannot even that I can't even explain, because it's a feeling, it's an experience. You don't know what you don't know until you have healed your mind, your body, and your spirit. You do not know the ways in which you can feel. I used to be depressed. I used to be lonely. I used to feel so at ease in my body. I lived in a constant state of depression for my entire life. And I really didn't think that anything else was possible, because this is what I had always known. I basically existed in a state of not wanting to exist. I remember I came up with the memory recently of it not being safe enough for me to breathe, to the extent where I had to go and get a tattoo on myself that said breathe, so that I could remember that it is safe for me to breathe. And these are the things that we don't even realize, because our body has its own consciousness, our mind has its own consciousness. And when we give our mind and our body space to just be in stillness, be in quietness, be in solitude, you will be amazed at the information that comes up for you. The next card we have is go outside. Yes, spend time in nature. It's time to go outside, tune into the powerful peace of nature, wherever you are, and feel at one with your habitat. Yeah, when I decided to move out of the city, and it's funny because I basically moved to a village. And, when I first moved to this village, my sister was like, she just couldn't understand. She was like, why would you want to go and live in a village? But, I chose to move out of the city when we went into all the lockdowns. And essentially, I felt like I was claustrophobic and I needed space. I needed to be with the trees and I needed to be with nature and, the colors of the flowers. We don't realize how the color, green is the color of the heart chakra. And when we are in nature, we are naturally activating our heart chakra. We're activating the natural part of who we be, but also all the different colors, the flowers, they're all emitting a certain frequency, and colors are so healing. I was recently reading a book that was written by Dolores Cannon, incredible woman. She developed something called quantum healing hypnosis theory, which is all about going into hypnosis and now communicating not with the conscious mind, but communicating with the subconscious mind, communicating with the soul. And one of the soul beings that she had channeled was saying, color trumps sound. So when you expose yourself to beautiful, bright colors, and as you see all these colors on these cards, you're also healing yourself. So be in nature, spend time outside, spend time. Remember, we come from nature. We want to be in our natural habitat. And last of all, transformation. This fairy tells you to surrender to a transformation in your life that's happening for your highest good. Embrace your transformation. The best is yet to come. Yes, beautiful souls. You are transforming in ways you didn't know were possible. Be open to these transformations. Do not fear them. Embrace the transformation and know that where you are going, I promise you, beautiful souls, from someone who is on the other side of the journey. And obviously, this journey continues because there are multiple layers. But I went through some dark times. I went through some really, really dark times. And the thing is, when you commit to going through these healing journeys, you might remember things that are difficult. You might remember things that are uncomfortable. But when you embark on this journey, spirit aids you. Spirit will naturally guide you. Spirit will prepare you to receive the information when you are ready. So, and if you aren't ready for yourself and you want support or guidance on this journey, then I am here to do this with my sister. We have a spiritual concierge service where we walk alongside with you and we help you to move through this journey. And this is done in a very individual way, and it is done on a consultancy basis. So I've included a link to our website down below so you can check that out. And hopefully we'll connect with you more. So if you enjoy these videos, if these messages have been helpful, please like the video, please share it with someone who you feel will benefit from this message, and subscribe to the channel if you want to continue receiving messages. I am here every week. And I look forward to hearing from you guys in the comments. I'd love to hear if these messages resonate, what you guys are going through, and what you guys are experiencing. So I send you much love, much strength, and I will see you in next week's video. Bye for now.